Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. My name is Carolina, also known as Carol, and if you're new here, welcome. I love to share my love about watercolor and other related art supplies in this channel. Sometimes I show a bit of my art as well, some tutorials, and today I have something super exciting to share. I could not resist. I bought a few new goodies, all watercolor, that I'm dying to swatch and share with you. I bought these three things from Arte Miranda, and I have this pack here from Aquarelle et Pinceau. I cannot resist the opportunity to get some new watercolors. So I have some new Schmincke colors and also some new Rosa Gallery colors, which I shared with you in the community tab. Yeah, the Coradam, the first ones I got are from Arte Miranda, and this is the new Random Gray from 2026. And Schmincke also released three new colors that have this vintage look over here. Schmincke has been really leaning into this type of old style labeling, like they released a few watercolor sets as well. I shared one here also in the channel. I'm gonna leave a card here up above. They released this one. I think they had a yellow and also a pink, and I looked at the colors and the pigments, and I felt that the only one I really wanted was this Kassler brown. I have tendency to say Kassler brown because that's how it's named in other brands, but this one is called Kassler brown, and I believe it's PBR 8 or NBR 8. I will check when I open the box, and it's supposed to be a nice granulating color. Here it says it's 3 stars of light fastness, is semi-opaque and semi-staining. And for the gray is transparent, granulating, and semi-opaque. I also got from Arte Miranda this little travel brush here from Heron. I like this brand. I bought travel brushes from this brand before and I really like them. This one's special because it's a type of brush I recently discovered. Recently, I would say in the past 1 or 2 years. I first tried one from Rosa Gallery and Schmincke, which is this one over here. They call it an eradicator brush. And this is the same. This is called eraser brush. It's the same principle. It's basically a very stiff brush that allows you to remove watercolor, provided that you're using a non-staining color. You can remove some of that, and I'm gonna use it so you can see how it works, and it's brilliant for effects on watercolor. I've used it in a few paintings and I really like it. So I was stoked to find a travel brush with this type of bristle, because it's not very common type of brush to have it in a travel format. So I was really stoked about that. Now, as you can see here, I have a tiny sliver of sun on the corner. I hope it's not too disturbing. I am now gonna open this box that has a few treasures inside. So when you buy from Aquarelle et Pinceau, you always see that they use this type of wool stuffing for the box, which is very particular. And here we have my goodies. So I got a sample Arches paper, and this is the cold press. I think this was after you spend a certain amount, they would give you a sample, and I chose the cold press because that's the one I really like. They also sent me a little sticker, which is cute. And here are the things I ordered. So, yeah. Yeah, let's start with the Rosa watercolors. They had the new colors from 2026 in tubes and in full pens, and they're so inexpensive that I decided to go for the tubes this time. I only got one full pen, that I think is this one here. Yes, so we have here the Nightfall Orange, Olive Oxide Gray, Nightfall Azure, and ultramarine gray, and then I took the half pan for rose pale, because I saw that both this rose pale and there were other colors also that had white in them. I usually don't like a lot colors with white added to them. I'm not a big fan of working with opaque watercolors, but this one looked like a nice tone, so I decided to take a full pan to try it out. I also got a brush, which is new to me, but I saw Eve Bot mentioning in her channel once, and I got curious. So this is a fauve bamboo brush by this brand called Leonard. It's a synthetic brush, very light, but I've read good things about it, that it holds loads of water and it has a really sharp point, so I'm curious to see how this one will work. Maybe I'll use this one to test the colors. Another thing that I'm very excited for, and then I couldn't resist when I saw it in Aquarelle Pinceau. They were having some sale as well, so I took advantage of that. If you can buy from Aquarelle Pinceau, I would highly recommend you sign up for their newsletter, because they often have discounts from 10 to 15, even 20% over the whole site, so it's really worth it. And I got this new Horadam Aquarelle palette by Travel Set Edition by Hazel Swan, and I confess I fell in love with the box first of all, but the colors look really nice as well. Let me show you. Look how cute is that. Isn't this lovely? I found it very cute. I think I had seen already a palette with this shape for Academy line from Schmincke, if I'm not mistaken, the release at some point. But I didn't want to buy Academy colors because I already have so many Schmincke colors, so even though I really like the box, I felt it was too much for me to spend on a kind of student grade watercolor. So when I saw this one with Horadam colors in it, I was like, okay, now I can go for it. So this is a 12 half pan set in this narrow shape, which is unusual but good for places like mine where space is at a premium and you have a small desk like I do. So it's good to have something that doesn't take a lot of space, and you put this here and you can have even a big sketchbook underneath without having to deal with moving the palette around, which I find it's great. Here are the colors. It has Aureoline Hue, Indian Yellow, Yellow Right Ochre, Raw Amber, Transparent Sienna, Alizarin Crimson, Vermilion, Ruby Red, which I absolutely love, is one of my favorite PV19, Schmincke Violet, Ultramarine Finest, which is a great alternative to ultramarine for those of you that are not into granulation, Prussian Blue, and Cobalt Azure. That is one very expensive color from Schmincke, so I was impressed that they added this color on this set here. The only one that I'm not particularly fan of is Prussian Blue, more because it's so unstable in UV light. But I mean, apart from that, I have no complaints really. Alizarin Crimson also is not light fast, but I think it's a great color selection nevertheless. I'm already happy that there is no white or opaque watercolor here. So I'm not gonna be swatching the whole palette in this video. I think this little palette here deserves a video of its own. So for today, I'm gonna share with you these new Schmincke colors and these new Rosa Gallery colors, and I'm also gonna demonstrate the eraser brush, and I'm gonna be using the fauve brush to swatch the colors so you can see how it works. So I zoomed in a little bit so you can see better. Let's start with the Random Gray. This one doesn't have pigments because Random Gray is a color out of the leftover pigments throughout the year. So luck of the draw, I suppose. So I was able to retrieve my other Random Gray here, and it's way older than I thought. This is from 2022, so I'm gonna swatch this close to the 2026 so you can see the difference. There's a lot of paint here. This is a very warm gray. Today I'm just doing these big blobs and trying to let a lot of water so you can see the granulation. The brush feels really nice as well. I think that I can even add a bit more water to this swatch. Maybe I'll do a smaller circle here with the diluted version, which is really nice. I like this taupe type of color, and you can see the granulation immediately. I'm gonna leave this space here to swatch the 2022 version so you can compare, but I think that this is way warmer than the 2022 random gray. Very beautiful. Now we have the Kassler brown, which, like I said, it's NBR 8. I'm gonna add a tiny bit and look what happened. Now I need a half pan. This is something that can happen with watercolors when they are filled to the brim like this one. It used to happen a lot when I opened Daniel Smith watercolors. I'm going to use this one. It's around. I'll take the chance to clean the tube. I have many versions of Castle brown or Van Dyke brown, which they're all the same pigment, usually PBR 8 or NBR 8. It's a brown I really like, even though it can be unstable or not light fast. So now it's a very rich brown as I added a bit more pigment. And I'm gonna do the same here. I'm gonna try to do a diluted version. So you can see the texture, because usually Castle brown or Van Dyke brown, they do have some texture, so I am assuming this one will also have. Given this is not a paper that really encourages texture a lot, this is the Dalerone mixed media sketchbook. I have a few sheets of paper left I wanted to finish, so now I'm gonna swatch the full pan I have from Rosa Gallery. This is Rose Pale, and this is PW6 with white, PV19 and PR101. It's an interesting mix. I'm curious to see how it will look. It's a nice bubblegum type of pink. I think that's what drove me to buy it. It's the tone of the pink. It's not a very common pink tone to find in watercolor. It's a bit purplish, I would say, and muted. It's really lovely tone. And not too opaque. We'll see how it dries. Maybe they had another red, if I'm not mistaken, and some type of lilac tone. My swatching is all over the place, but I'm just excited to see the colors. I hope it's not too hard for you to see. There's harsh shadow here on my desk because I have the skylight, but the weather has been so unstable that it's bright and sunny, and then suddenly it gets super gray, dark and rainy, that I didn't want to risk leaving the video for later and then missing the daylight. So I hope you'll be able to see, but anyway, I'm gonna share with you, if not today, I'm gonna record later the close-ups of the swatches. Let's continue. Now I'm going to swatch this new color, the Nightfall Orange from Rosa Gallery. The pigments are PB28, which could be cobalt turquoise, or it could be also cobalt blue, and PO73 is an orange pigment, but I don't know from top of my head. I'll add here when I'm editing. And it's granulating and semi-opaque. It's funny how it looks really brown, but Let's see the magic happen when we add water. Wow, that's a really unexpected color. Really nice. It's almost like, I don't know even how to describe the color. It's a bit in between a red and a brown and a pink, maybe. I would say maybe a pinkish brown. But as it happens often with granulating colors, you do have to let it dry and then you will see the full effect, because it can change dramatically from wet to dry. Sometimes other colors come to surface as it dries, so we'll see. Really, really nice color. I love it. These Rosa Gallery granulating colors are a very nice addition to their catalog, because they're so affordable and the quality is so great that you really can afford to try all of these different mixes, which is not always the case with other watercolors like Schmincke, for example. I'm gonna move my paper a little bit now so you can see the other colors. Again, hoping that the sun is not too distracting here. Now I'm going to try this ultramarine gray, which I think was the one that I was most interested about when I saw the post about the new release colors for this year. I was really excited about this one. And this is a mix of PB29, so French ultramarine, and PBR6. Is it raw umber? Not sure, but I'll add it here. I love purplish blues. Oh, this is nice. Wow. So far, I'm loving this new granulating colors. I don't want to be enticing anyone, but I cannot lie, they are beautiful. At least I know that this won't break your bank. I think for a tube was around €4 something. I know that was less than €5, which for a whole tube of paint is a great price. And this is artist quality paint, so totally worth. Oh my god, I really like this blue, and you can see it because my swatch keeps getting bigger and bigger. I only hope that it doesn't lose a lot of saturation as it dries. I know it will, but oh, it's so nice also in diluted. It's kind of this purplish gray blue. I'm tempted to do another one even lighter to see. Oh, lovely. Oh, love so far. This ultramarine gray and the nightfall orange, together they look chef's kiss. Let's see the next blue, the nightfall azure. It looks a bit more greenish, but we'll see. Wow. This one I remember being not sure if I should get or not, because it looked quite more opaque than the others, which I can feel it's quite opaque, but still the tone is beautiful. It's this type of greenish gray, very muted and granulating, and it's very beautiful. And you can see the blue granulation coming through. I forgot to mention the pigments for this one. So this one is PB29 French ultramarine, PBR6, so far the same pigments of the previous color, plus PG17, so here you have some green granulation. Anyway, it's a very nice layered color. And it looks more blue when diluted. Very interesting. I wonder if the green will come out later. I'm gonna try a bit more diluted still, like I did with the blue. And finally, we have the olive oxide gray, which is a mix of PG17, so the chrome oxide, like in this color over here, plus PR108. Oops, I think it was a bit blocked and I pressed and I got too much. I'm gonna transfer a bit to a palette. Let's see this green now. It's kind of a khaki green, very muted brownish type of green, which can be good for landscapes or even animals. Like I can definitely see this green in a frog, for example, or a toad, more like some forest animals, vegetation, of course. This is quite opaque as well, which I guess it comes also from the PG17. Chrome oxide green is quite an opaque color, but it can give very beautiful mixes. I have experimented a bit with mixing chrome oxide with different yellows, and it does give great results because of the granulation. You just have to be mindful of the opacity. So here are my very irregular, huge swatches. I'm gonna let this dry now. Maybe take a little walk in the sun, hoping it doesn't rain. And when I'm back, I am going to share all of these beautiful colors dried close up for you. So I hope to see you here soon. So I'm back. I was supposed to be talking while I was recording this video, which I was, but I came to learn now as I'm editing that this part of the video for some reason doesn't have any sound. So I am doing a voiceover for you now to explain a little bit of what I was doing. So you see here I have a tube of the Random Gray 2022 in my hands, and I swatched it underneath the Random Gray 2026, and I was a bit surprised because it looked very brown. It almost looked like the Kassler brown that I swatched on the side. So I went to my swatch book and I grabbed my swatch cards to compare and see if I was going crazy, basically, and absolutely not. You can see that my swatch card was quite grayish compared to the swatch I had just done that was more brown. So I once again I swatched this time on screen so you could see the color out of the tube, because I had swatched initially while I was waiting for the other colors to dry. But you'll see that also in this swatch the color will show quite brown, similar to the swatch that I did in between the diluted swatch of Random Gray 2026 and Kassler brown. And I was really confused because it's not at all the color that it was originally. So I think that some of the pigments kind of, I don't know, settle at the bottom or come to the top and then the color changes. So what you'll see me doing next is to take my paper punch and do a little bit of mixing inside the tube to see if I could get the color exactly as I had in the swatch card when I originally purchased it in 2022. And you'll be able to see now in this close-up that the color indeed looks exactly like it was in my swatch card. So it really was a case of the pigments getting a bit, I don't know, creative inside the tube. And yeah, I think it's good for you also if you have this color or you intend on buying the 2026 version to know that with time this color can look different. And if that's the case, you should just go ahead and do what I did and mix inside the tube and to try to have the same ratio as it was when you originally purchased it. The color that I purchased now, the 2026, you'll see that it's not that different. I thought it was more different, but truth be told, I don't think they're that different, that much different. And if you already have the 2022 version, I don't think that it's necessary to buy the 2026. I got curious, I purchased it, but if I had seen the way the color looked in comparison to the previous version, I probably would have skipped it because they are so similar. But in any way, at least it's helpful for you to see. Now I'm gonna show you the eraser brush from Herent, how it works. So I will be first of all putting my brush in the water jar for a little bit, and I should also dry it a bit on a piece of paper towel. Just has to be slightly humid to remove the paint. I think my first attempt I couldn't get it to erase very well because the brush was not wet enough, but then you can see that it really works very well for colors that are not highly staining. And you want to have a paper towel beside, because then you can dry it and it will really show the paper underneath. But one caveat for this type of technique is that it doesn't work well for all types of papers. In this case, I was using a mixed media paper. This is cellulose paper, and the brush was making the paper pile up a little bit. It was not ideal for this type of technique, so I would recommend you always do some tests if you want to experiment with this type of brush. And of course, the better quality paper will behave much more adequately for this type of technique. So cotton paper would be great. So you have the random grade 2026 with the other I just said to you at this time to ignore the one in the middle because it was not properly mixed. The Kassler brown, the rose pale, nightfall orange, which is really nice color. It was one of my favorites from these ones that I got. The olive oxide gray was an interesting one. It's not as opaque as it showed while I was painting it. It dried a bit more transparent. It's a very natural type of green. The Nightfall Azure is a very nice color, but a bit more opaque than the Ultramarine Gray, for example. The three of them have some degree of opacity, these granulating colors, so they're not fully transparent, but some are more opaque than others. I think the Nightfall Azure was the most opaque of the three of them. And yeah, I hope you really liked it. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. And I hope to see you here soon. And thank you for being here and for supporting the channel. Bye!